So Marc, you mentioned that part of your job is to find interesting companies and expose your clients to them. What companies do you like and which ones are you surfacing to your clients?
Again, I think we have to divide it up into two categories. There are companies that are interesting and might become, massive companies that will be interesting to everyone, and there are companies that are at scale now and still kind of looking to ground an ad model. So on the, companies now big enough for prime time, big enough to have massive audience exposure, companies like Amiibo, they now pass 200 million people. You can divide those 200 million people up into audiences, and almost for every client across the board, there should be some subsection of audience that's going to be appropriate for running, their unique ad unit to that audience. And they have a canvas and you can paint whatever picture you want. It might be video, it might be incorporating real-time feeds into it, it might be just a creative kind of game or program that runs within it. Zynga is obviously another one in the casual gaming companies. They have massive scale and reach. They have a diverse audience base, and I think the number of things that you can do within a platform like that are completely diverse. People talk a lot about Foursquare these days. That's a company that's cool, but not yet ready for prime time, but I think represents, more a trend that's going to be interesting than anything else, which is the idea that, consumers with a mobile device can now check into, retail environments, can check into establishments, and, to the extent that there is a real-time branding and marketing and couponing and loyalty scheme associated with that, I think that will come. But that's a different mentality than introducing, someone like Facebook or, the things that you can do with Twitter to a client who, at this point, it's not do we engage, it's, how do we engage.
Talk about online video for a minute, because we care about that a lot at Beat TV. Is that still an experimental part of clients' media plans? Has it become mainstream? Where does it stand for most clients?
Well, sadly, I don't think it's yet as mainstream as it should be, but for the most part, many of the clients that I work with now consider it just kind of part and parcel of the way they spend money. So when they think about digital, they're really thinking about search, online video, and display advertising. I think to the extent that there are less video opportunities, there's less inventory available, it's still expensive to buy online video. And in a marketplace where you have extremely inexpensive television, you can buy spot cable on a network you've heard of in between 8 and 12, it's hard to justify $75 CPMs on Hulu or some of the other big properties. So it is ready for prime time, but it's still kind of relatively expensive.
Thank you, Marc.